Very possible. It's crypto land. Will these people still hold on? Maybe he knows something we don't.
I would have to say this is a meme.
Yeah.
But it's a really good meme.
Meme or theme? Meme or theme?
Team.
Well, hello everyone. This is the latest episode of the Degen Investor, brought to you by SJ and
QJ.
Ta-da! We're back. Just to note that this is not, again, very quickly, this is just two guys, two anons blowing water, literally pontificating anything. This is really not financial advice, so please do your own research. Do not invest based on this. But without further ado, let's go to the new episode. Today, we're going to talk about ETH, everyone's favorite altcoin. Look, I think just this, I think as to make things interesting, and you know, there's and not to bore most people. I think there's a lot of literature out there about what ETH is and introduction to ETH. So we're not going to touch on that for the purpose of this podcast. I think what's more fun we discuss with TGen is we will probably play a game called meme or theme, right? I think, you know, there's a lot of people, a lot of personalities who, you know, have been bull posting, especially this last few months, with the price going up about, you know, like ETH is this, ETH is that, and let's go through them, right? To see which ones are which ones are true and which ones just, you know, full of crap.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah. So I guess the ETH one, the first one people always look at, you know, especially now with ETH treasury companies and whatnot that we touched last time, you know, ETH as a store of value. Meme or theme?
Team. So I think it's a team, just because we have had a lot more people not only believing in it, but also taking action. For the last 2 weeks, we still have seen record ETF inflows for ETH. And more importantly, we still have the treasury companies that's been acquiring ETH in pretty large amounts. And also something to note that's been very interesting is BMNR. We had Bill Mayer. So Bill Mayer is very early. He's a macro legend, and he was also very early on into Bitcoin, but as well as MicroStrategy. He actually went and bought BMNR. So I think that's a very big signal for the market.
Yeah, I think from my point of view, right now, I think it's got all the right signs, where people holding it, people putting it in treasuries and whatnot. And, you know, you have the ETH strategic reserve showing who's holding, you know, like all the big companies are holding it. But we talked on this before. The only thing is, like, BTC is sort of battle tested in the last cycle, you know, like basically like the price halved, and yet you had, you know, Mr. Saylor holding on for dear life, like hoarding it. Right, but imagine in a case where ETH really tumbles when you know there's a shakeout, and you know the ETFs need to sell to pay in kind, and the treasury companies basically can't raise anymore. I think that convexity going down can be pretty dangerous. That's the only thing on the store value front.
I agree. Actually, it's a very interesting thing, by the way. I mean, this is like completely sidetracked. I know we're supposed to just talk about ETH, but if you actually look at MSTR and you compare it from way before to way now, you know, do you know that MSTR doesn't have too much debt, actually?
Well,
They started off fundraising via convertible bonds.
Yeah, exactly. And then, but then these guys, like, basically, like, BTC's been battle tested, right? In the sense that they had a crisis and people still held on for dear life onto the tokens. Whereas if ETH really falls, say 50, 60, 70%, and, you know, it could happen, that you're right, very, very possible. It's crypto land. Will these people still hold on? Like, the only thing, like not to sound like a total super bearish on this thing, because, you know, a lot of people are really onto it. I think one thing that does have onto it, like the Trump family seem to be, you know, hoarding as well, which is, you know, at least for the near term, like till the next presidential election, I suppose, is a big plus, right? Like if you were to have anyone holding it, like the presidential family is pretty big.
Yeah, I think they they are actually pretty big into all the various altcoins actually. So I think that's actually quite
Yeah.
a good signal.
Eric Trump's been telling everyone to buy the dip, if you don't know, by the way. So like he
I
said it, he said it, but really, he said it in January, or he said it in February. Forgot, was like buy the dip when it was 2007. Went to obviously went really low, and then now we're sort of treading water. He says we're buying the dip again now, so who knows? Maybe he knows something we don't.
yeah, I
Actually, I'm
really
pretty
don't
sure
like it when he says that.
I'm pretty sure he knows something we don't.
Yeah.
Okay, so store value. Look, I think pretty like strongish, I guess. Next one, and yeah, this one maybe you take a stab at explaining what this actually means as well. ETH as digital oil, meme or theme.
This would probably fall along the lines of a team. So why is ETH digital oil? That's basically because if you are using the Ethereum network or any of the Ethereum layer 2s, you need ETH to transact and to basically, in other words, the parlance for that is gas, right? ETH, you need ETH to pay your gas fees. This has a very interesting effect if you think about what has been built on ETH thus far. The team over the last 6 months has been about real world assets, and a lot of these real world assets actually stay on Ethereum. Probably also because Ethereum as a network has the strongest security, and as a result, I do think that ETH as digital oil makes sense as a team, just because it is the forerunner for as the layer of which that you settle trades on, that you transact on, and it offers the highest amount of security at this point in time.
Yeah, basically, it's whether they can create the new fintech like ledger, right? Like I guess stablecoins being the first one, and then like basically if you transact with stablecoins on the ETH network, you have to basically ETH is the gas fee, tokenize assets and whatnot. But that'll take long, eh? Like that one you're projecting very long into the future.
That one, yeah, it's gonna be some time.
Yeah, because the bull case is you're projecting all of that to turn onto ETH, and then there's be some sort of supply crunch for that, which makes it go all the way up, eh?
Yes and no, right? I mean, if we only talk about it as digital oil, right? I mean, oil, the highest it has ever reached is like maybe $140, $200. It's not exactly designed to be like gold, right? Which has been in when it runs, it has really ran over the last 50 years. So it's similar in more ways than one. And it may not necessarily be similar in a way that you want it to be.
Yeah. And so in that sense, like what do you think is more permanent, like which is the storyline stronger for ETH, ETH price? The digital oil one or so far the store of value one?
I think they are not entirely antagonistic to each other in the perspective of security. You need ETH prices to be high for the ETH network to be secure, because otherwise you could experience a 51% attack. So in other words, if your Ethereum network is being used as the layer to secure maybe say like $2 trillion of products, then it doesn't actually make sense for Ethereum to be worth say maybe $500 billion, right? Because you could just go and accumulate more than 51% of Ethereum on the network to attempt attack to potentially rob $2 trillion. So I would say that they are not in direct opposition to each other.
They need each other basically.
They need each other. For ETH to be a digital oil, oil cannot be 10 cents or 1 cent.
Because it's not, because it needs to be digital oil, needs to be secure, cannot be, basically someone can't just go buy 51% and absolutely screw everyone over. Then that can't be then it can't be the store of value that everyone wants it to be.
Yeah. So I think it will accrue some amount of monetary premium, but the top spot for that in terms of attention has been taken by Bitcoin. I think it is going to be pretty hard to um, try to take over Bitcoin's monetary premium at this point for Ethereum.
Yeah. What do you think is the edge then for Ethereum? Because look, I think Ethereum, the price, frankly, I think right now just depends on the ETF inflows, right? So basically, what the boomers want to buy.
Yeah.
If looking, basically based on your sort of stereotypical boomer, they're probably just looking at this as levered Bitcoin, eh?
I think
I would
levered
guess.
Bitcoin because they probably
Because they missed Bitcoin
first.
going from 60K to 120K, and they're going, okay, this whether is it basically probability wise they think with the supply liquid it's easier for ETH to go from 3005 say around 3005 to 7K than Bitcoin going from 120 to 240. I think it's just math.
Definitely. And if you think about the inflows that's been going on in ETH versus Bitcoin, right? ETH actually has had very similar size inflows. In fact, over the last 2 weeks, there was a day where ETH actually had more inflows than Bitcoin. And it was not a low inflow day for Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin had over $700 million of inflow that day. But the contrast to this is that Ethereum is 20% the size of Bitcoin, right? So if you think about it in terms of how much flows there are going into it, I would say that the wealth effect that's going to be generated from Ethereum is going to be much, 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 much larger just because it's way more illiquid than Bitcoin.
Oh, just disclosure, we both hold ETH. But man, given the inflows, recently, this kind of the price is just staying dormant, eh? Basically there's a bunch of sellers at the same time right now. Like even though we say store of value and everything, like there's a bunch of guys basically TPing out.
Definitely. I mean, it's not too dissimilar to what's been going on in Bitcoin. Actually, you had a recent whale that sold off close to $10 billion of Bitcoin at 117, 116K. So I would say, as price goes up, you definitely are going to find some amount of sellers out there. But I think what is going to be interesting to note is that the ETF buyers actually are pretty strong. It's for a lot of them, it's probably their first time touching this digital asset. Yeah. So they are coming in with a very fresh set of eyes actually to this. So I would say what may seem high to the crypto natives may not actually seem very high to potential ETF buyers.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is that now it just occurred to me. ETH, ETH to the to the boomer ETF buyers is basically a meme coin. Like I said it, but for them it's a meme coin. Like it's basically they're just trying to like number go up it.
Yes. I think it's at this point the strength of ETH is also the strength of Bitcoin is that it doesn't change, right? It's not permutable. And I think the strength for Ethereum in this case comes from the fact that it is technology, it is changing, and I think that's what will appeal to people who are investing.
It's got new tech that, let's face it, most people don't understand. We claim that we do, but let's be real. Most people don't understand what's going on. Like you talk about scaling and blobs, like no one's going to go into that sort of stuff.
Yeah. I mean, neither do we. This is just for entertainment purposes.
That goes next. So our next one, really nicely. ETH as the world computer. What the? Anyway. Meme or theme?
I would have to say this is a meme. Yeah. But it's a really good meme. Like
ETH is 42.
Yeah, this is I think this has been a meme since
many someone
years
can comment
ago.
where that reference is from. We'll send something. We'll send some free stuff. Something.
Yeah, we'll send you something. But I think it has caught the imagination of a lot of people. I mean, it certainly has caught my imagination. And I'll say that it is a meme for now, but could it be reality? Maybe one day in the future, if it becomes a general ledger for settlements, for everything. That could indeed become a reality. But for now, it's a meme. But it's a really good meme.
Yeah.
The
I
world
feel
computer.
I feel like yeah, but I love this about crypto though. Like we get so ambitious, like world computer, and then remember NFTs, NFT games,
Well,
metaverse.
yeah, but you can't. I would say
We
that.
lived it for sure, right? But looking back was like okay,
I would say
we were all a bit ambitious, like especially 2021.
it was.
$1 million raise NFT company can make a AAA game.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's for sure. But I mean, if you think about it, I'll say that in it actually looks very similar to what you see out there in the venture world, though. Like you always start off like telling everybody that your total addressable market is the entire
Yeah,
world or the entire universe. It's like a $1 trillion market that you are looking to crack. Um, so I would say it's not too dissimilar to what happens on Adventure.
yeah,
I would like to think.
yeah. But we were venture on steroids back then. We still are, to be honest, with all the L1s. So, um, all right, let's go. We're going off topic. Next one, meme or theme. Uh, ETH as the sovereign dollar for AI.
Ooh, this I think I'll have to plug it under a meme.
Yeah,
It's an okay meme.
we're so far from it. You don't even know, right?
Yeah, we are actually pretty. I think I would say we are far from it from a perspective point of view, but maybe not from a time point of view because everything is just accelerating now. Like, could this be a reality? Maybe, perhaps, but
Yeah,
there are
like
also other blockchains that are specialized for AI.
to project this into price, I think is a bit ambitious.
It's very ambitious, but I think it's a decent meme. It's a good meme.
Yeah. That being said, like a lot of like we've projected a lot cool like a lot bigger things before. So wait, can you slightly explain? Like I think just before we jump, like what do we mean by basically AI using this as a currency? Why would they?
So if you think about AI and AI agents per se, if they would want something to, it'll be reasonably difficult for them to transact via a bank account, etc. Because all those things are much more regulated. You need to have a proper person, proper entity, etc. And I think society is not really ready to think about those moral and legalistic dilemmas, right? So it's going to take some time to catch up. But if you do want your AI agent to actually do more useful things for you, like ordering your groceries, etc., then it must have access to your cards, your payments, etc. And from there, it is a very short leap for AI agents to actually have their own wallet because that is actually the easiest and the cheapest means for them to transact and to settle, right?
Oh,
I think we still live in a world where Visa and MasterCard they earn close to what 3%
yeah.
on just for settling transactions. There is a big space there to really disrupt, and I don't think that if we have new participants coming on, be in the form of like say AI agents, that they would necessarily want to transact on Visa or Mastercard.
Yeah. Yeah, especially because Visa Mastercard is not efficient, right?
Yeah, it's going to take some time. Whereas if you want to settle it via a crypto network, it is going to be pretty much instant for most networks out there.
Yeah.
Safe, secure, cheap, very cheap.
Crazy it's the uptake, right? Like fintech, like we've had the technology to upgrade Swift for how long, and yet we're still relying on it, which is crazy.
Yeah, it's actually crazy that bank wire actually takes like days, and you can still expect to wait days for it to
Takes
come.
days, right? doesn't work after 5 p.m. Like international transfers take even longer, and then like what God forbid you have to do it over a public holiday or a weekend.
Yeah.
It literally makes no sense why it can't go, right? Like everything. It's almost like saying like internet connection only works 9 to 5 p.m.
Yeah. It is actually a relic of the past.
Yeah. No, especially because bank teams, right? They have the coverage of 24 hours. Like, all your big banks, they have desks all over the world. There's no reason why transactions can't go. Anyway,
Yeah.
that goes into like why ETH has digital oil, right? Because
Yeah.
if we can get the transfers on chain, we can do 24/7 and all these go away. All right, then I think we can go to the next topic then. I think talking about ETH would be remiss not to mention something about DeFi. Look, I think DeFi can be a whole separate conversation. Like I don't think we can cover everything here, but like, will institutionals adopt DeFi and to lead ETH? That which is a bull case, theory for ETH.
I think
Meme or theme? Meme or theme?
team. It's a team, but with big brackets. And the reason for that is, what do you consider as DeFi, right? Is staking DeFi? Because
Yeah,
if you do consider staking DeFi, then most of the Ethereum in, be it the treasury companies or even in the ETFs, I believe they will
we'll be
be
using
staked.
it. Yeah.
And
But how about like
that will,
the stuff that the stuff that bloomed in DeFi summer, right? Like your like decentralized exchange, your decentralized lending. I find it very hard that frankly that those will scale like worldwide. Like what you see volumes in institutions.
I think that hopefully there will be new innovations and new things that will pop up, because a lot of what popped up back then was very much geared towards retail, right?
Yeah.
And when you have the instis coming on, I do tend to think that there are new things that are being developed for them, like be it in the form of like say stable coins, yield bearing stable coins,
Oh, that's true.
and things like ETH, where you actually create a synthetic stable coin out of it. I
Yeah.
think it's all very quite interesting. I would say that it is
Growing
solidly a
theme.
team.
Growing
Yeah,
theme.
I would not fade it. In fact, this actually probably deserves its own chapter to really like talk
Yeah.
about it, and we barely even scratched the surface.
All right,
Actually,
theme. Okay. I think that's fair. I think the last cycle, yeah, like your the newer ones like the staking and all that, and obviously like you have Hyperliquid and coming out. There's quite a lot of interesting things coming out in that space. All right, and then the other one, basically other L1s can catch ETH. Meme or theme? This one obviously like
meme.
this one again this one will be a short one. Like this one like it has to like just like all these other ones, your Souls, your Avalanche or whatever. Like it takes a long time to go over, but yeah, I'll just quickly go over. Meme or you think it's a meme?
I think it's a meme. I think it's a meme, and the biggest reason is just that it's going to take some time for them to catch up to
I think just that the
Ethereum.
downtime is quite incredible. Like there's no downtime in ETH since the very start. Yeah, yes, it got hacked, but it was never
Yeah.
been down. It's never been
Correct.
down.
Correct. And actually, in terms of scaling, they actually have, the layer twos, what we're talking about, the blobs and shards, etc. All of that actually has increased the performance of Ethereum such that I think it is pretty much quite comparable to Solana. But Solana is very, very centralized. So
Yeah.
I am not sure if you can actually compare the two within the same bucket. But I think the most important driving reason is also the reason why Bitcoin is at the forefront, which is just that Bitcoin has an ETF a lot earlier, which created a lot more flows for Bitcoin. And a lot of the treasury companies that are set up are Bitcoin treasury companies. I mean, ETH is very much a very recent addition in terms of the ETF and in terms of the treasury companies. But all these flows, I think, are extremely important in propelling and giving alternate layer one legitimacy, particularly because if you talk about security, your layer one tokens have to have some amount of monetary premium for security.
Yeah, I think. Is there any other things to mention, Tijian? Like,
I think we can talk about the DATs. I think those can be quite interesting. In fact, actually, we should do a whole chapter about DATs and even strategy. Like strategy itself is actually quite interesting.
what do you mean by DAT?
The digital asset treasury companies like MicroStrategy.
Oh, well, we did it last time already.
Huh?
That was our last podcast.
We didn't do a deep dive.
Oh, you
Yeah,
want to do a
we
deep
didn't do a
dive?
deep dive into the capital structure. Yeah, yeah. I think that actually is very interesting.
Yeah, that could be. Yeah,
Because I think most people don't have. Yeah.
Yeah, I think. Look, I think based on the meme of themes, I think we went more or less went through the largest topics. But I think I think that the ones that I think we could probably have more fun with. So if we do more, like we go more in depth, like we're still starting. We're starting to find our groove, how to do these. Let us know in the comments what you guys want to go. But yeah, we can do deep dive into the treasury companies again, deep dive into our favorite protocols, right? Hyperliquid being such a hot thing. We could even do a deep dive into how Pepe or how Peanut went big. So that'd be funny.
Yeah.
So anyway, so I think look, I think let's keep it there. The next episode, I think we'll probably want to do some deep dive something. So stay tuned and listen in. But please like and subscribe. We're trying to make content we think at least that it's interesting to us. Hopefully, it's interesting to you. We'll see you guys next time. All right, clap it up.
Catch you guys.
See you guys. Bye.
Bye.